So welcome to Renton Airport in Washington. Today we're going to be working on one engine inoperative maneuvers, and this is a really fundamental maneuver when you're learning to fly twin engine planes. So it focuses on both identifying and recovering from the loss of an engine, and then flying the plane smoothly and as efficiently as possible when you only have one engine available. So as we've done in some other maneuvers, when we see that an engine fails, we go through the steps of identifying which engine has failed and make sure we know for sure which one has failed, verifying that, and then feathering the prop on the failed engine to minimize drag there. And then when we're flying on one engine inoperative, it's really straightforward, but we do want to be aware that with one engine failed, although we've lost half the power available, of course, one of the two engines is gone, we can lose as much as 80% of sort of excess power that we're normally used to having when we're flying straight and level. So the DA42, for example, in most situations will fly just fine, straight and level with one engine inoperative, but we've lost a lot of the power we're used to climb or do other maneuvers. So we have to be very careful about that, and also minimize drag as much as we can so that we're not eating into that available power. So we fly with something called zero side slip that minimizes any sort of side drag on the plane, make sure the plane is well cleaned up, and we'll talk through that. So looking forward to having you along on this flight.
West Practice Area, Twin Diamond 62 Delta Lima at 5 miles northwest of Bremerton, climbing through 4,700 to 5,500 for maneuvers in the area between 5,000 and 6,000. West Practice Area.
Since we're talking about one-engine operations, I should bring up a couple of important V-speeds for multi-engine planes. These are VYSE and VMC. VYSE is sometimes called blue line because it's indicated by a blue line on the airspeed indicator. It's the speed at which you get the best rate of climb when you're operating with only one engine. For the DA42, VYSE is 85 knots. In this video, we're flying well above 85 knots, so I didn't focus on it, but in some situations it's critical. This could include if you are close to the ground when the engine fails and you want maximum climb performance. Also, if you're at altitude on a warm day and we're working to maintain altitude, or perhaps even to minimize loss of altitude with only one engine, VYSE is the speed at which you would set to maximize performance. We'll talk more about VYSE in the upcoming video on the one engine inoperative drag demo maneuver. Then VMC is sometimes called red line, and you guessed it, it's indicated on the airspeed indicator by a red line. VMC is defined as the airspeed at which, following a sudden critical loss of thrust in one engine, it's still possible to maintain directional control. In the DA42, VMC is 71 knots with flaps up. This basically means that under certain conditions, if you are at or above 71 knots, you should be able to maintain directional control with one engine inoperative. Obviously, this is a critical airspeed and it's very important to ensure that you stay above VMC when operating one engine inoperative. Also, it's important to know that there are a number of conditions that can cause VMC to be higher or lower than this number. We are concerned when VMC gets higher because that means we have less margin. We'll talk more about VMC in the upcoming video on the VMC demo maneuver.
So we've done our clearing turns, made our radio call. We'll turn the envelope protection off. System setup, page 2. Off. So maneuvering with one engine inoperative is really the basic multi-engine training. As I mentioned, it sets us up for both learning how to configure the plane once we realize we've lost an engine, and then flying it smoothly and with minimal drag once we have that engine secured. So we will go ahead here and fail the left engine. See, it's failed. Okay,
Check
full
gear.
Power. Check gear up, flaps up, maintain directional control. I'm going to turn that off. Get back on directional control. And see, gear ups, flaps up, identify, dead foot, dead engine, so it seems like it's the left that's failed. Maintain directional control, verify, simulate moving the failed engine power lever back and forth, there's no change. So we will now feather, and that involves simulating turning off the failed engine master, and that in this environment, to simulate that, we give ourselves back about 10%, which gives us a huge benefit. A lot less work on the left leg. So we've feathered, we'll turn off the alternator, we'll turn off the fuel selector, confirm the good engine fuel selector is on, all simulated. And then set up for zero side slip. Now zero side slip is the minimum drag configuration, and usually it's about 3 degrees into the good engine, so the good engine's the right, so 3 degrees to the right, and then about half a ball either here or here. So you see that lower ball, because of historical reasons, is there. And then important to stay on heading, and we'll get back down on altitude. So we'll do that first, and we can put in some trim, just to make it a bit easier. A little bit more. There we go, and we don't need to leave the power up that high. Even though we don't have a huge amount of excess power, we don't need drastic amounts. So I'll pull it back to, let's see, about 70, 75, and see how that goes. Looks good. We're about 5,008 there. That's good. I'm going to turn us around now, bring us back just so we're staying generally in the practice area, and let it drift down a little bit, although we can maintain this altitude, but let it drift down just so we're staying generally over the practice area, and we'll get down to 5,500. And you can see the planes, once it's configured, it's very maneuverable, easy to fly, but important to remember that you don't have a lot of excess power. So minimize drag, and just be gentle with the plane, and don't expect it to do anything dramatic. There's the altitude, and we'll use Mount Rainier as a nice reference point. Yeah. Let's see, set the heading bug, and we'll also do a turn into the dead engine. And as you may have heard, that's definitely something you want to be more cautious with. You can certainly do it, but the VMC is higher when you're turning into the dead engine, so you do want to be just a little bit more cautious and do shallower turns and so forth. So that's what I'm going to do here. Come back around, do a 180-degree turn. So into the dead engine, just being cautious there, but it's still flies fine. We'll make sure we stay on altitude and come around to the heading. Keeping eyes outside. Just making sure for all these maneuvers we do clearing turns, and radio call is really important to get in that habit, because it's the right thing to do, and it's maintains safety, but it's also something that your examiner is definitely going to want to see when you're doing your check rides. And actually I might keep it coming around just to head down the channel. Now, just so we're not flying right at the Olympics, but hopefully you're enjoying the view of the Olympics and the clouds over there. That's great, that'll be good there. Just set up for zero side slip. Remember, into the normal heading, keep on altitude, get back to 5,500, stay on heading, and set up for zero side slip. And we can fly along all day like that. Okay, that's maneuvering one engine inoperative. We will now reconfigure, so what we call scissoring the engine, so bring the power levers back together and recovering And remember, we're probably going to have to adjust the rudder too, but bring the power up on the failed engine and power down on the good engine. Just set back up for normal operations, and there we are at about 45. And put a bit of rudder trim in, so bring that back out. And there we go, maneuvering one engine inoperative.